thank you for joining us. We are very, very excited and here coming to you from Sammy Hagar's house. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you. It's easy for me not to leave my house.
Well, with this beautiful background.
Yeah, actually, it's hard for me to leave my house, but it's much easier when people come to me because I don't like to leave this place. So I just sit here and you join me and I'll answer any question you want to know.
Well, we want to talk about this wonderful award that you just received, Ambassador of Los Cabos. But first of all, going to the beginning, you're an icon. Cabo Wabo is a landmark. So let's go back to your roots. How did everything started?
Well, boy, it's a long time ago. I'm añejo. I didn't start playing guitar until I was about 15 years old, but I would always sing. And so I've always kind of been a singer. I would sing to the radio in my car when I was a little boy. My dad would drive a car and he was listening to country and western music and I would sing along to it, you know. So I always was musical, but I didn't start playing an instrument until I was 15. Once I started playing an instrument, that's all I wanted to be, was a rock star. The term rock star wasn't what they called us back then, but I wanted to be a famous musician. I wanted to be Elvis Presley. I wanted to be, and I just never looked back. I never did. I had other jobs because I had to, have paper routes. I had to wash dishes. I did yard work. I did everything to make a living and to buy a better guitar and a better amplifier and a new microphone and put gas in my car. But I started off very poor. I had nothing. My parents never owned a home until I bought them their first house when I, got famous. But for me, it was just passion. Everything I do is passion driven. I wanted to be rich and famous, but once you get rich and famous, which it doesn't matter anymore because you can't have more of that. There's no such thing as, more fame and more fortune. That's a wrong way to do things. So I learned real fast that I just wanted to be happy and I wanted to start doing things for other people and I wanted to do creative things. And so once I got rich and famous, I started doing things like building the Cabo Wabo. I started traveling around the world. I find places I like to be and I would go there. And this place, I fell in love with this place. And I wanted to build a house here. So once I had a house here, I said, well, I have to have something to do. So I got to build a little cantina where I can play music with my friends. And then I tasted real tequila, and the next thing I know, I'm in the tequila business. I'm like this. I go like this. I only go straight forward. I never look behind. I don't know what I have. I don't know where I've gotten. I just know I'm here right now. I wrote a song about it, right here, right now, the Van Halen song, and it's the way I live my life. I just go and I do things, and I don't look back, and I can't understand failure. And I can't understand how anyone would quit something before it was successful.
Because there's some obstacles and everything, but how did Cabo Wabo start? That is an amazing story.
It really is, because Keith Richards, the Rolling Stones icon, one of my heroes, got married to Patty Hansen down here in 1983, 84, something like that. I think it was 1983. And I saw a picture of an infinity pool like that, and a palm tree, and some cactus, and a beautiful ocean, and I saw it in a magazine. I said, "Wow, where is that?" Because I love the ocean, I love the desert, and I love, water, palm trees. I say if palm trees don't grow, Sammy don't go. That's my slogan, and I love those things. So I thought, where is this? Where are palm trees, cactus, desert, ocean, all in one place? And I looked it up. It's Cabo San Lucas. So I said, I told my wife, let's look this up, let's go. And we just came down and stayed at the Twin Dolphin. And I fell in love with it, love at first sight. There was dirt road from the Twin Dolphin. The road ended at this arroyo over here. Twin Dolphin's over there. There was an arroyo where the road ended, and then it was dirt. You went down to the arroyo in a car and up the other side on a dirt road into town. Only the marina. You could see Land's End. There were no hotels. There was nothing but little palapa shacks. But I didn't go into town until the next year, 1984. I came down for my birthday. I came down for Thanksgiving. I came down for every holiday. I'd come to Cabo and stay at the Twin Dolphin for a couple years. And I'd met Jorge Viana. He was working there. a desk clerk. I thought he was a bellman, but he said he was a desk clerk. Anyway, we got to be friends. He had asked about, you know, my career, and then I joined Van Halen. And it was, but before that, I needed to make a phone call. 1984. I said, I need to make a phone call. What do I have to do? No telephones, no newspapers. One flight in, one flight out, a week. Mexicana and Aeromexico. And he said, oh, I can take you into town. There's a telephone in town. So we go to the phone company. The lady's sitting there with a switchboard, and she says, where do you want to call? I gave her the number. She said, okay, like, you know, 30 pesos or whatever. Got on the phone, called, and someone had landed in the Twin Dolphin, a business person, and I heard them talking, and they said that the stock market crashed. That was it. So whatever year that was, it was like, and I went, what? So I wanted to find out what was going on. Like I thought maybe there's a big problem in America, but because there was no newspapers, no TVs. So anyway, when I went to town, I said, wow, Jorge, look at this. And the Giggling Marlin was in town. That was the only place that was like a business. Everything else were just shacks with restaurants. Guadalajara, Patty's, Taqueria de Chef, those were my favorite places. And I said, wow, I'd like to maybe find a place to live down here. And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, take me around. So we drove around all dirt roads. Back then there was no condos, not even Terrasol. Terrasol and I don't remember the other one. There were 2 condo units, and Terrasol was the only one. There was the Finisterra and Terrasol in the middle with 40 condos, and then Solomar. That's all that was on that whole beach, and some houses up in Pedregal. So I fell in love. I said, man, yeah, I want to buy that place. So I went and looked at the condo the next time I was down here, and they only had, the model room was done. And they said, yeah, we'll sell you one of these other places. And I said, no, this is one I want to move in now. And so I bought the model room, and they had to make a new model room. I bought the first condo at Terrasol. And I used to come down here in the summer when there was nobody. And so at Terrasol, I would be the only person there with the bellman and, you know, the desk clerk and a couple waiters and stuff. And I had the whole place to myself. So summer, it was a ghost town in Cabo back then, 1984. And then I was going to Taqueria de Chef one morning, early in the morning, like about 9 o'clock. I was going to go get some tacos, some breakfast burritos, and go fishing up the Pacific side. I used to go down dirt roads and go fishing. And I saw a guy, a local. He was stumbling on a dirt road, and there was a barbed wire fence, and he was bumping into the barbed wire fence, and his shirt was ripped, his pants were ripped. He had maybe one shoe on, and he was still drunk, and borracho, and he was banging, had blood on his arm, and I couldn't get around him. I go, oh shit, you know. I was slowing down, and he'd bounce out into the middle of the road, and I said to the person I was with, I said, look at this guy. He's doing the Cabo Wabo.
Oh my goodness.
Look, see those goosebumps? You see that?
Yeah.
See that? My fur comes up remembering that. And I laughed. I said, oh, that's funny, Cabo Wabo, that's funny. Guy went, got my burritos, went up, went fishing, all day long thinking, Cabo Wabo, Cabo Wabo. So I came back, and I said to Jorge, who had become my friend, I saw him all the time, we'd have dinner together, and we'd cook together. I said, hey, find me a piece of land. I want to build the Cabo Wabo. And he said, okay. And next time I came down, he had the land. So where it's at, he said, it's for sale. And I said, okay, buy it. You know, I paid the money. And then there were no telephones, so we finagled a way where I got a telephone from the telephone company, ran a wire all the way through town to Terrasol, where I had a telephone, and then I got him to run another wire to Jorge's house. He was 2 blocks in the telephone company.
What
so we
a story.
had telephones. Him and I had telephones, and we would call, you know, each other, and then I could call him from the States. So finally, he said, you know, I bought the land. I said, okay, let's get somebody to design it. You know any architects? And he says, let's have a contest locally. So he had a contest locally with some friends, and Marco Monroy Jr., whose father had built Terrasol, so I knew him. He said, yeah, I'll do it. So he drew the place, and it looked fantastic. They flew up to San Francisco, to Malibu to see me. By now I'm in Van Halen. Now I'm in Van Halen, and we're going to build the Cabo. I'm going to build the Cabo Wabo. So Jorge goes, here's the plans. Him and Marco came with him, and I'm looking at the plan. Oh, it looks fantastic, fantastic. I said, you know, like about 3,000 square feet. And they said, yeah. So, but I was saying 3,000 square feet, and they were drawing it in 3,000 square meters. So I said, let's go. They started. I went on tour. I came home and flew down to see the floor plan was laid out. It was all, cement was poured. I got a picture of me leaning on the cement mixer with no building, but all the foundation was poured. And I pulled up and I went, what? I'm going, is this the parking lot? No, it's Cabo Wabo. I'm going, it's too big. There's not enough people in this whole town could, you know, fit in here. And we found out it was too late. You know, they'd already poured the thing, and we just built it. So for the first couple of years, the Cabo Wabo would be like, there would be like 30, 40 people in there, and it was empty. It was a disaster in some ways, but I loved it. And, yeah,
but like you said on the ceremony, build it and they will come, and that's what you did.
Yeah, but that's the whole Cabo Wabo story right there. The rest is history. We just kept building it. MTV wanted to launch it. You know, they heard about it, and I wrote the song Cabo Wabo with Eddie Van Halen, and we wrote the song and put it on an album that sold 8 million records worldwide. And everybody said, what's Cabo Wabo? What's Cabo Wabo? And I said, sleepy little town in Cabo. And I just started promoting it, and it grew and grew and grew and grew. Within 3 years, we were packed, you know. But now we could use someplace twice as big.
Of course you
we
can.
should put another story on it.
And they would come. I've seen people like driving in front of it, just going there and taking a picture. People coming down from the cruise ships, just coming to see the Cabo Wabo and have that picture. And your contribution to Los Cabos has been amazing, because from all the beginning, you have been one of the people that is a key and have put Cabo on the map.
I believe, no, I'm guilty as charged. Yes, guilty. Everyone would ask me, you know, like this, getting this ambassadorship, they're asking me, say, hey, will you promote Cabo worldwide? I said, it's what I've been doing since the day I came here, because everyone likes to brag about if you discover something. Like, you know, when you see a movie that is really great and no one else has seen it, you go around town and oh, you got to see that movie. Or you go to a great restaurant, right? You go to, the food is great, and then there's nobody in the restaurant, and you say, oh, you got to try this restaurant. Everybody wants to talk about what they discovered. Well, when I discovered Cabo, there was nobody down here. And I just went around telling everybody, you got to go. And then I wrote a song, you go there once, you'll be there twice. And now I say, you go there twice, you'll never leave. You'll end up buying a house. Toby Keith has a house down there. Chad Smith had a house down here. Chad Kroger from Nickelback has a house down here. Adam Levine has a house down here. There's everybody I've ever met that I talked to about and got them to come to Cabo, ended up buying a friggin' house down here if they could afford it, you know? Because it's magnetic, it's beautiful. There's no better weather in the world.
And there's something I love about your speech during the ceremony is that your children came to school here, and you were very involved also in the community.
Yeah. If I remember right, Jorge might have a better memory than I do. But we either bought the first ambulance for this town, or we bought the first police car. Cabo Wabo did. I did. I said, you know, I said something about, I've never seen any police here. He said, just policemen in the street. He said, oh, there's a police station right here. And then one, you know, but they didn't have any cars. So I think we bought him a car for the police chief. Or it might have been an ambulance, because same thing. I said, how, you know, where's the hospital? There was a hospital out of town back then. And I think, I want to take care of the kids. Every time there was a hurricane, Cabo Wabo took all of our food, all of our possessions, and we took all the money we had in the safe, and we'd go buy diapers and milk, formula for babies, and tortillas, rice and beans, and, you know, the necessities. And we'd go out to the barrios, and we would hand it out. I did it myself. Every time I was here for hurricane, we took all of our money that we had and got a truck, loaded it up, took our 50, 100 employees, said, get down there, we're going to hand this food out. And if you had 2 babies, you got 2 games of diapers. And yeah, I do that everywhere, though. I do that in America, too. Whenever I go play a concert, for 11 years, I give money to a food bank in every city I've ever played, millions of dollars. And I'm not bragging. I think everyone should do it.
No, but it's something that a lot of people is important. So it also inspires other people to help.
Yeah.
Where they go or in Cabo. And what are the causes here close to your heart, dear to your heart?
Well, I believe in feeding people, number one. I think everybody should be able to eat food, you know, number one. It's the easiest thing to do. So, you know, support any kind of food distribution systems. And my English is very bad, but then Los Cabos Niños, the organization, what's
Los Cabos Children's Foundation or Los Cabos Niños? There's
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That I've been supported that which takes care of the children here in Cabo. I've supported that from day one. My fans will come down on I just don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Pendejo, Sammy. You know, total pendejo. But when my fans come down for the birthday bash, we had for 10 years bring children's clothing, shoes, jackets, shirts, you know, all that. And my fans would bring so much stuff so they would come down, they put a big truck there and they would load it up with the fans. When they would be waiting in line, they would go donate the stuff to that, and then I would sign auction items every year for that. I don't know, the cantina does a lot now on its own. You know, Jorge Villanes was the most wonderful man I've ever met. I met him here 40 years ago, and he's still my best friend, and he still runs my business, and he's a partner. I made him a partner with Cabo Wabo. But he does a lot of good stuff through Cabo Wabo, and you know, my knowledge of it, but I'm not in touch with here as much as he is. He's part of the community. I come and I stay here, I go play music, I go around town a little bit, and yeah, that's about it.
You both are a very, very big part of the community, and that energy, we can feel it and here through the years, and it has been a great contribution. For all of this that we have talked about, we understand why you were named Ambassador of Los Cabos. That was pretty exciting.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
Well, it's unbelievable to me. But before we get to that, the one thing I did was, because I spent so much time here, we said, let's move down for a year. I spend 4 or 5 months a year here, you know, off and on. But I said, let's move down, shut it down in America. Let's move to Los Cabos for 1 year and put our kids in school. One girl was in preschool, Samantha, and Kama was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And they went into, I said, no, they're not going to go to some special school. No, they're going to go to a full-blown school. So we had 2 ladies that lived here that worked for us, and they were teaching them, come home at night, teaching them Spanish every day, every morning. They lived and breathed it, and both of them are so bilingual. They can talk like faster than my gardener. You know, and they learn the culture, and they learn what it's being like to be around regular kids that go to school here, not rich kids, just kids, you know. And I thought it was the best thing I've ever, Cara and I, best thing we've ever done for our 2 girls. And when we moved here, we said, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to take the year off and relax and decide what I want to do in my life. Do I want to continue to be a rock star? Do I want to continue more businesses? You know, a lot of opportunities because of the success of Cabo Wabo, and the tequila was doing so well. Everyone thought, you know, I should go into business. And I said, I'm not a good businessman. I'm an idea guy. I can't run a business. I don't know how to run a business. But we said, let's slow it down and go down there and have the time of our life. Every day, we walked on the beach, we cooked, we barbecued, went into town, we went and visited schools, went to hospital and visited sick people, and, you know, just really got dug in. And we woke up one day and we went, Kari goes, wow, I need to call California. When are we going back? I said, what do you mean, when are we going back? She goes, honey, school starts in 2 weeks. And are we going to put the kids back in school here again? And I said, really? I couldn't believe it. It was the fastest year of my life. So don't come to Cabo to slow things down. It accelerates because you're in the moment here that you don't think about a lot of things that just speed up or slow things down. Just like this, it just cruises, man, but it's going fast because it's so wonderful every day. I don't know, the consistent weather, no seasons. I love it. Some people, oh, I want to be in Boston in the fall. Oh, I want to be in New York in the winter. Go ahead. I want to be right here, winter, spring, summer, fall. But that year was the fastest year of our lives, and our kids were happy to go back, but they were changed, man. They got back to their friends. We didn't even go to America once the whole time. We stayed here. And when they got back and their friends would come over, they're going, wow, man. I'd look at them and I'd see their friends that they went to school with before the year. And our girls look so much older and so much more mature. And they just seemed to be so, I don't know, they had
more
something, and that the other kids seemed naive. They seemed like they were missing something. They weren't as whole. And not in criticism way, but this place made my girls very special. And they're still very special. I mean, their friends are always, very impressed with what they know about. But they've traveled the world with me everywhere, though. So it's not like this was their first traveling. They've been traveling the world,
But what a wonderful experience. And Cabo has a really good energy. And Mexico is laid back and relaxed. Well, we have big cities and all, but Cabo is it's just different. So nice.
It really is. Everyone says, what's the difference between Cabo and Mexico proper? I'm going, you just got to go see for yourself. It's different, there's not it's becoming crazy. It's becoming, it's growing. It's growing into a Mexican city, but it's still wonderful and laid back. The locals here are a different kind of people than anywhere in the world. They're different than Mexico. They're different than when you go to Puerto Vallarta or when you go to Guadalajara. I love all of Mexico. For some reason, it's close to my heart. I always say I'm half Italian, half Irish, and 3/4 Mexican. It doesn't add up right, but it's something like that.
Yeah, it's
it's
nice.
A very special place. It's very spiritual. It's quiet. You feel things here. You don't feel like hustle. I don't know. I feel like you have time your mind to relax here. And when you want to party, you go into town and you can party as hard as any place in the world. And if you just come a few miles out of town and you have this, that's special. So
just listen to the waves crashing.
Yeah, I like to look at beauty. My goal in life is to spend more time. Everyone says, what would you do? What do you need money for? You don't need more money. I don't need more money. What do you do with it? Besides take care of my family and have a beautiful way of life and take care of other people through philanthropy? What I do with my money is I buy time. If I don't have to go work, then I have enough money where I don't have to do that job, or I don't have to go and do something I don't want to do, and that's my time. And that's when I sit and I look at beautiful things like yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. But through the years here in Cabo, you have seen it evolve so much. And like myself, I kind of miss the old Cabo a bit. Any ideas, thought, because of how we can preserve it? Because that's very important, to preserve and respect the natural beauties that we have.
Well, the things I've tried to do in the past, I did cleanup systems where the Cabo Wabo, one time we bought trash cans and we put them on the beach. And we went to the city and said, can you guys pick them up? And they said, no, we don't have any facilities to do this. This was a long time ago. I put them down by the beach down by past the marina, that beach right there. It used to be where the cannery is and all that. There used to be a local beach there.
Yes.
And there was always glass and dirty diapers and things all over the place, and it drove me nuts when I lived in Terrasol. I didn't like that. So I said, let's put trash cans on the beach. Put trash cans on the beach. And people didn't use them. They threw their stuff on the ground. So I think what needs to happen in a place like Cabo, Los Cabos, is education. You have to educate children to do it, because the parents, they came from another generation in the school, and they're just not going to change because I tell them, hey, pick up your garbage, or be careful, don't do this, don't do that. They're not going to listen to me. The kids will, and the kids will change, will make the change. Kids are always the ones that make changes. So our goal, Kari and I, this is our new project since I got this ambassadorship. I think it gives me a little more clout with the government and with having more respect from the community maybe. They've always given me respect. I don't have a problem. But más. Más respect is bien. So we want to start seeing about getting in the schools if they'll teach recycling. Very simple. Just teach your kids how to do it. They'll do it like that. Look at the kids. You pick up a computer and they go, oh, yeah, bam. Next thing you know, they're like, man, I'm sitting there going, what the hell? Because they got good, fresh brains. So I say let's teach the kids how to be a little more ecologically friendly with the community and be careful. And I'm not a politician, but once again, this may give me the opportunity to get the governor's attention and say, I'm going to go out and promote Cabo, and we're going to grow it some more, but it doesn't need to grow too much. You know what I mean? There's going to be a point where I'm going to say,
balance.
Yeah, there has to be because of the pollution. It's such a small area. That's the good news, is that the peninsula is so small. It's not like big old Mexico where the pollution's huge and goes into the water. This is a little peninsula, so it's not as polluting, if you know what I mean, because they can't get enough people on this wrote a song called The Big Square Inch, you know, like in Japan, they got every square inch, you got a square inch here, they put up a pole, you know, so they can go up as high as they can to put a camera up there, you know, so they can see around. So the big square inch is very small. There's a small square inch down here. And so that's good. So that's pollution can't ever get like it is in a lot of communities. But we still have to be careful. And I'll say, I will grow it, but I want the deal to be that the officials be careful and implement rules and laws. Recycling, number one. There's no reason to throw plastic bottles and glass bottles on the beach. My God, if I see somebody do that, I go and pick it up and look at them and say, I'll take care of this for you. I'll take care of that. Yeah, it's bad. It's that's what everyone has to be conscientious. So let's start with the kids. Education.
Yes, because after a hurricane, we see all that plastic and all that debris going on the water, on the beach, and it's so hard to pick up. So yes.
Yeah, get it before it gets down there. You know, the barrios, a lot of those people are uneducated. Like I said, they don't really know. They haven't been taught to recycle and what to do with their garbage. And the city should, this town's got a lot of money. You know, they can spend a little money on helping keep everything a little bit cleaner and preserved. That's what I'm going to try to do a little in the future down here, and that's what I'll donate my cause to. Is I just think ecology. If you don't do it, you're going to ruin the place will be ruined. That water's so clear and so perfect, and the fish are so good here. It's beautiful. You don't want to hurt that. And I wish they would do something about the overfishing out there, but that's too big for me. I can't bite that one off. Somebody will kill me.
No, but there's a lot of things that we need to talk about as citizens because we care about this place. We want to preserve it for future generations. And I think it's wonderful that you are this bridge between the foreign community and the Mexican community, the Mexican government, with this ambassador award that you have received. And it's also a responsibility because now you can go back and say, hey guys, let's do this, let's do that. And you have the support of all of the community that we really appreciate everything that you have done for Los Cabos throughout the years. I could not even think of a better way to start being an ambassador with all the work that you have done.
If you travel up Baja, I've driven down here many, many times, down and back. And I used to have a motorhome that I would drive, and I would stop and camp. And I had a dune buggy on the back, so I'd pull the dune buggy, and you'd stop at a place, and we'd get in the dune buggy and go through the desert and go way over to the ocean and go up mountains and do all these things. I've really, really traveled throughout Baja, and I'm seeing a place like Loreto, where I just spent a few days recently, last 2 weeks ago, which I fell in love with Loreto again. The first time I drove down here, we stopped in Loreto in my camper, and we went into the bay and we pulled out chocolato clams with our hands like this.
Oh, so yummy.
And just put them in, and like this, and got a couple dozen, and my brother and I, and Kari, and his wife, and we opened them up, we ate them raw, and we made pasta and clams, and I'm going, this is unbelievable. Well, I was just there, again this time, not so many chocolato clams, so that bothered me. But it's barely growing. It's gorgeous. I love Loreto, and the Villa del Palmar, is that the name of it?
It's beautiful, and
Owen
Santa
Perry's
Bay.
new place in that bay. They went out on those islands, and they're preserves. Those islands are preserves. Whoever did that, muchas gracias. Don't ever let those islands get occupied. They were the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But That's a wonderful place to stay. It was so quiet there. It made made this sound like it was like, it's too loud here. I can't dig it. It was so quiet. You could hear people talking 2 miles away, you know, walking on the beach. I loved it. Loretto's still very much preserved. But the point I'm making is that little towns like that, Santa Maria and all that, as you're going up the Baja, is starting to grow. And you got to be careful. You know, this whole peninsula could be wall to wall all the way. And then that's going to be tough for pollution on that, because desert, there's not enough water. There's a lot of things that are missing. So yeah, I'm not trying to change anything. Every time I ever say anything about, oh, they shouldn't put any more hotels or any more houses up, some wise guy says, oh yeah, you got your house, so yeah, now you don't want me to have mine. I'm going, no, it isn't like that at all. You know? But that's what happens when you try to, you know, when you try to stop growth at some point. You know, well, I got my house. I built my house 20 years ago. There wasn't any houses, so but anyway, it's very hard to be privileged. But this gives me privileges. I'm so honored from this. Like I said, 2 things that you want in your life: to be recognized in your hometown. Well, I was poor, so when I grew up poor, you know, I've had girlfriends, fathers not like me when I was in school because my dad was an alcoholic, and maybe he'd beat him up in some bar or something. You know, that's the kind of family I came. My dad was a boxer, and he would punch people. He'd get drunk and fight people. So I had a couple girlfriends growing up when I was, you know, 9, 10 years old, that I'd go to their house and their dad would give me a dirty look and kick me out of the house. And, you know, so going back that, you know, I would be so humiliated, you know, and some, you know, I was one of the poorest kids in town. But point is, you want to be somebody. When you start getting famous like me, the first thing you say is, I'm going to go back to my hometown. I'm going to buy a big house for my mom, and I'm going to, you know, show these people. And that's the kind of, you want to be recognized in your hometown. That's the way I feel here. When I came here as a gringo, I started the Cabo Wabo. People said, you're crazy. What are you, nuts? Dirt roads, there's nobody here. There's one flight in a week. You know, what are you, nuts? I'm going, yeah, I'm nuts. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Everyone went against me. My accountant quit. It broke up Van Halen eventually. They hated this place because it was mine, and I was so in love with it. And I was always here, and when we'd record, I would come down here and write all the lyrics. I'd say, no, you guys go ahead, play. You guys jam, play all the music. I'll be back. You know, and they said, where you going, man? Where you going? You know, it's like they were real jealous of Cabo Wabo. I hate to say it, but it's true. You know, they were very jealous of it, and they gave it back to me. I said, okay, I'll make you guys partners, and they gave it back to me. If you read my book, there's a good story in there. Too long to talk, but they said, yeah, it was in debt. And they said, we're not putting any more money in. I said, okay. They said, you pay for it. I said, well, if I'm going to pay for it, I want my shares back. You know, and they said, okay. So they took a tax write-off, and I put up the money to pay off the debt. And oddly enough, the next year it took off. But that's just coincidence, you know. The town grew into it. But anyway, so when you get rewarded like this, awarded like this in your hometown. This is my hometown. This is where I started my biggest business ever in my life, this business, Cabo Wabo. And it was really meaningful for me, just like when my hometown the mayor gave me the key to the city and named a street after me in my hometown. It touched my heart. This touched my heart the same way. 2 big things, you know, Grammy Award, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, wonderful. American Music Award, MTV Awards, wonderful. 5 #1 albums, 50 million records, wonderful. But it comes and goes. The gold records, this guy right here, this little big medallion, it's a hubcap.
It's heavy.
Yeah, I'm gonna put I'm gonna have that put on my car, in the hood of my car.
Yes.
But it really meant a lot to me. I was touched by the ceremony, very much touched by it. I was surprised it was so big. I didn't expect them to do all that. I would have made a bigger deal. I should have invited my whole family and my friends and everybody I knew, but I just thought, I'm just gonna go get an award and shake hands with the mayor and the governor or something. But no, it was a big deal, and I'm very honored, and I respect this a lot.
Well, I'm going to speak for all the cholleros that we're here. For us, it's a very, very big deal, because it's kind of like the coming together. You're part of Cabo, but this just makes it official, and we also wanted to celebrate you. Now I'm talking like I did it. No, it was the government that did it, but you know, that's the part of being in Cabo community. You are a part of everything, and we always feel like we're integrated.
It's a great community. Cabo is a great community. I see it all the time. That's the other thing that's special about it. It's people have a little more heart in the community than some places in the world where you have, you know, the communities are a lot of crooks and a lot of people trying to take advantage of other people, and people, you know, trying to cut somebody's throat, you know, to get to their position. I mean, sure, Cabo's got that too. Everybody's got that, but there's a certain community heart and soul about this place because of the original locals. Well, I told this story when I first came here. If I would go to the store, I would end up somebody, you know, oh, you're Sammy Hagar, the famous rock star. Can I take, you know, not take a picture, but they didn't even have cameras, but cell phones and stuff. But, you know, hey, please come to my house, and you know, and I would go to people's houses with my family that I didn't even know, and they would cook dinner for. They loved to do it around Cabo. It was like the craziest thing. I used to say it all the time. You could go up and people would, you know, invite you into their homes. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Family. And most of the homes you'd go to, there was at least 2 generations per household. Jorge, when I went to his house first time, his mother cooked for me. It was his mother and his father and his Jorge and his wife. They lived in the same house, man. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, you know. And then he got his own place. And
the Mexican abuelas, that they're big part of our families. Sammy, going back to what you were saying about Loreto and all those towns, you had a rock and roll road trip. There was a lot of fun. How about a Baja road trip?
Well,
let's end it up. Oh, I'm not including myself, but let's end it up at Cabo Wabo. Lots of tequila.
I did a couple road trips to Cabo Wabo. I did my birthday bash a couple times, and I canceled that show. I didn't cancel that show. I did 58 episodes, 5 years. Or more than 50, whatever. I did 5 years of episodes, and it's exhausting. You know, look what you're doing here. It takes the whole day, you know, of your life, maybe 2 days for a rock and roll road trip. I have to fly somewhere, so that day's gone. Then I have to spend the whole day with the person, and then I have to go back home. It's a 3-day deal, and you start running out of people to interview. The people that I want to interview, the TV company would start saying, "Oh, why don't you interview blah blah blah?" And I'd say, I don't even know who that is. You know, if I don't know, you know, some younger band that's just starting or something, and I'd say, not that I don't care, but I'd say, you know, if I don't know who they are, and if I don't love their music, I'm not going to interview them. You know what I mean? That would be no fun. So I quit. You know, like I said, I got too many things to do.
And enjoying life.
Yeah. My new Santo Tequila and Sammy's Beach Bar Rum, and this guy right here. These cocktails.
Orange Beach.
Yeah, these Beach Bar cocktails, sparkling rum cocktails. These are my new passion project.
Oh, we have to try them.
Oh, they're fantastic. I don't have them in Mexico.
No, it's fine.
But if I had one, I'd give you one right now. I've got fake ones in there because I did a photo session. I had to have fake cans. So I took some regular old Perrier water cans and I put the wrap around them for a photo session that I did a few months ago down here. But no, it's only in California, Nevada, and Texas right now. But it's a new project, and it's a project I got passionate about. When somebody says tequila, somebody said, hey, you want to try tequila? You know, I said, I love tequila back in the old days, a worm in the bottom, you know, and it's lime and the salt, and ooh, you know. And then I went to tequila, to Guadalajara to shop for my first condo for furniture. And I tasted real tequila for the first time. This is what, 1984, 85,
and you went like,
right?
Ooh.
And I'm going, this is not what I've been drinking. What's the difference? Jorge and some other friends took me around to some distilleries, and I said, oh, I want to make my own tequila. As soon as I built the Cabo Wabo, I said, I want to make my own tequila. And people go, you know, what do you know about tequila? I said, I'll tell you what I know about tequila. I know what tastes good and what don't, because I had tasted the good stuff. Back then, before Patron, before Don Julio in America, none of those were there. So when I made Cabo Wabo tequila, everybody said, why are you doing this? And I said, because I'm making the best tequila in the world. And you know, everybody, you're a wine guy. Yeah, I'm a wine guy, but I can't make better wine than Romanicante or, you know, Vega Sicilia or you know, Conterno Barolos. I can't make that kind of wine. You know, Lafite Rothschild. These guys been doing that for, you know, hundreds of years. But I can make better tequila because I got people that'll make it for me, and I know how to get it, and I know how to do it, and blah blah blah. And I got my bottles, and it was successful because it was the best tequila in the world. That's what I did with the RTDs. These guys, everybody in the beginning was making garbage in a can. You know, it's hard to make something in a can that tastes good besides beer or Coca-Cola. You know, it's great, right?
Yeah.
I don't make Coca-Cola, but I take Coca-Cola, put it with my rum, and
there you go.
make a rum go. So anyway, I always try to do things that I think I can do a better job than other people. And that's the same with as a singer, as a songwriter. I would quit if I didn't think I was competitive. If I still didn't believe in my heart and soul that I'm as good a singer as any rock and roll guy out there, and I can write as good as music and play as good a guitar, I would quit. If I thought I was outdated and everybody said, nah, you can't play anymore, guy can't sing anymore, I'd quit. It'd be easy. I'd just say, okay, I won't do it anymore. I'm not any good. Who wants to go out and do something when you're not any good?
What would you say to a kid that is watching this video and thinks that, you know, there's obstacles and things, but to keep with his dream?
You know, dreams do come true. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. And that is a fact. I don't care what it is. If you can dream it, if you can imagine it and see yourself in it, then it can happen. You just have to never quit. Number one, nothing's going to be given to you. If you want to be a good guitar player, you have to go to work and buy a good guitar. A piece of junk will help, but you will never get great on a piece of junk. You need a good instrument, you know, so work, get better on your piece of junk and buy a better guitar, and then you get a good guitar that'll do everything you can think of, and then you now go to work. You sit and you practice. And if you don't practice, if you don't put in the time, you'll never be great. You can be good, and you can say, I can play guitar. Okay, pick it up. I play like Eddie Van Halen. But Eddie Van Halen invented that. So for you to take that farther, you have to practice. You have to put in the time, and you have to have the heart and soul and believe in yourself. And if that's what you've got, and you're willing to put into work, you will be famous before long. You will get what you want out of it. You have to put in the work, though. Nobody's going to come along and say, okay, we're going to make you famous tomorrow. It's like,
yeah.
Sure.
There's no shortcuts.
Yeah. There's no shortcuts, and it's fun doing it. That's the whole thing. If you enjoy what you're doing, it's never work. I haven't worked a day in my life. You know, to me, the hardest work I've ever done was maybe when I used to have to lift my amplifiers up and put them in the back of my truck to take them to the show because I didn't have a crew guy. That was work, and setting them up, you know, and like what these guys did, plugging things in. Yeah, okay, that's work. But looking through that camera, that's not work, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not. This is not work. This is having a fun conversation here.
This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun, and it has been wonderful sharing this couple of days with you and seeing everything, and also backstage. It's a wonderful opportunity, and thank you also on behalf of every person that is a Destino supporter, all of your fans, for this opportunity, this interview.
My fans are going to love this. Hi, redheads. This is for you. There's a few things you can learn in this one that I haven't told you yet. She squeezed it out of me.
Okay. Thank you, Sammy, and thank you for welcoming me into your house. Thank you.